3, discuss take action on activity day at Somervell County Expo. Richard, I believe that's you.
This has to do with county residents having access to the covered arena in the back. It wouldn't require any electricity being used or anything, and I have asked Ms. Allen to come in and speak about it. So if you want. And Terry.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Malia Hollick. I'm your local small business owner, entrepreneur, horse enthusiast. In a former life, I was the marketing manager and contract specialist for 31 different rental venues. So rental revenue is kind of my thing, and I've been in state and federal government for an cumulative 17 years prior to moving here. So I get how it all works. But being a horse enthusiast, one of the very, very standard practices nationwide, and same's true here locally, everywhere, is something referred to as haul-in arena use, where you haul in and you ride your horse at an arena. There's terms and conditions, there's a liability waiver, there's a fee based on however that facility, venue, or private arena owner wants to set it up. So there's a million ways to make that happen. But essentially it's, I take my truck and trailer and my horse, I drive down to the arena, I ride my horse, I load up, I leave. And obviously, here in Somervell County, we've got a lot of folks, because we don't have anything else like this here in the county, or even that close locally, even in private arenas, to use a facility, especially on rainy days, hot days, whatever inclement weather, or even, a lot of folks just don't even have an arena at home, so they may want to go somewhere and use one, even if it costs them a fee. Well, for the county, that's extra rewarding, because you not only get to serve your constituents, local and surrounding communities, but you have a passive revenue stream, which we all want for the expo, I'm sure, right? So, as an example of how this would typically work at most facilities, there would be a posted schedule or calendar of events, or some way of letting the public know these are the dates and times available, this is what the terms and conditions are, these are the amenities you're allowed to use or not to use, this is where you park. Flat fee price would be posted, however that flat fee comes to be, and obviously that would be up to the expo and y'all exactly how that's coordinated. I could give you suggestions on what standard practices are. Let's see. And then again, it's, you haul in, you ride, you leave. Some people bring one horse, some people bring a trailer full of horse and cycle through them. So how that charge would be either per rider, per hour, per horse, package deal. There's all sorts of ways to make that work. My suggestion is that Somervell County pilot this idea, see how it goes, see if it is a good passive revenue stream that is low to no overhead, easy passive use, if it all works out. Again, just like Mr. Talavera said, the covered arena on the back side of the expo, there are gates on it, so it could be closed when it's not available. Gates could be left open during the times that it is available, obviously prior posting of when that schedule would be. A lot of these facilities work on honor systems, so whether you wanted to set that up digitally for waivers and payments, as well as scheduling, or if you wanted to have paper copies done, that'd be another point of discussion. But everyone that I know here in Glen Rose and surrounding area, they're always looking for somewhere to ride. I have a little bitty outdoor arena at home, and my neighbors and friends are always asking if they can come ride. Now, if the expo had something like that, I know the community would jump all over it, be very excited about it. And because this is such a standard practice in the equine community, anyone who's going to use it or want to use it, they're going to understand how it works, that it's a privilege, not a right. They're going to respect the facility so that they can come back and do it again and again and again. And so my suggestion is that Somervell County pilot this idea and see if it's a win-win for everyone, which I'm sure it will be. Make your constituents and community members happy, make some passive revenue, which is the best kind of revenue. And that's what I have. Does anybody have any questions about how that would work?
What were you thinking about on the revenue side? What were you thinking about, like per head, per horse, per day? what are we talking about?
Sure, so out of the 86 local facilities that are both public and private that do this, they charge anywhere from $10 an hour per horse to $40 an hour based on what they provide, what amenities are included. You know, there's some places that have a racetrack as well as an indoor and outdoor arena you can use. And different specialty discipline facilities that'll charge more because they offer you these amenities to use while you're there.
Okay.
My suggestion, and this is just a suggestion, I'd go middle of the road, something that still feels economical to the public, but isn't going to be a waste of time for the county to produce this, which obviously is passive, so it should be as hands-off as possible. But the bigger thing is that it's not like one person rents the arena for an hour. It's kind of like your community pool where you go to open swim. Open swim is from this time to this time, and whoever joins. Here's the rules, here's the regulations, here's the cost. And the community is gonna really enjoy it. And obviously here at our expo, the main driver there is equestrian events. And all the barrel racers and riders and mounted shooters and extreme cowboys love this facility and would love the chance to even get their competition horses and their young horses just out to see a new facility for exposure, even if it's just a warm-up pen in the back.
Richard probably explained to you, we're right now going through accepting offers from the Expo if it were to sell, and they were to approve to move forward with something like this for you, then it would be up to the new owner, which, you know, that's several months away. By the time
Sure,
we take offers,
sure.
by the time we do surveys, by the time we get through title companies,
Yep.
I mean, no matter what they approve, you know, you've got several months to work through that issue, but I just want you to be aware that issue may
Well, that
come
makes total
at some
sense.
time.
Whoever the owner, whether it's the county
There
or
you
somebody
go.
else, gets to make those decisions.
They wouldn't be obligated to let this
Obviously.
forward.
Obviously.
And this is sun up to sundown, right? What you're talking
It
about?
could depend on the month. So say, for example, the county wanted to pilot, I'm just gonna say a hypothetical, every Tuesday afternoon through evening is open ride, right? Because potentially that's a good day that nothing really conflicts normally. Well, this third Tuesday in August, there's a conflict, so that day's canceled. During the summer months, you could do whatever daylight hours you want. Obviously, during the winter months, you'd have to start to decide, do we want to charge an extra fee to keep lights on from a set amount of time so that people can come in the evening just because it gets so dark in the winter? Or do we want to allow it only during daylight hours? What makes more sense? What's manageable? What's the facility set up to do? And so all of that can ebb and flow as needed. You don't have to stick to anything concrete forever and ever. You know?
And if I can ask, did I understand that you had examples or access to other facilities that are doing this type
Absolutely.
of fee schedules and things like that?
Absolutely.
So we could look at that and base, okay, if we want to do something like this, this is the schedule.
Yeah, I can
we charge,
certainly supply
how it
that to
works,
you.
Things like that, that'd be awesome.
Mhm. I can even
I'm-
supply you examples of liability waivers that
Right,
are completely
right,
standard.
right.
Well, Terry, I imagine you and Cindy have something to say, input or output or?
Well, actually, we haven't hardly had time to talk about it in the last 2 weeks. Thank God we've been busy. You know?
So,
Yeah, and I understand exactly what you're saying right here. I got one question. Would you plan on having like any events there, or is this just for like your horses or my horses or? I mean,
My
play
suggestion is that
events?
the expo manage the schedule and make it open to the public, just as an open ride,
Okay.
just as the community
Okay.
pool would do the same
Well,
thing.
I'm gonna agree with you on that, in that I've seen it happen.
Yep,
Bryan, Texas is a pretty good example of that.
yep.
I've seen it happen. I don't know how they do theirs. I can find out. I'm good friends with the manager down there. And, do a little investigating on it. I know racetracks, are practically open to the world.
Right.
If you want to take a Shetland pony and trot him around, well, maybe not one of them, not like Lone Star or Churchill
Right,
or
right.
something like that, but training tracks, I guess.
Right.
And I'm going to say this, on the weather conditions and such like what we've had this year. I'm in the futurity bull business. there's a covered arena between here and Granbury. And I have gone there to use it. Have bulls entered in at security somewhere. I can't walk them in mud this deep in my house. I've got to take them somewhere and get that done. I understand, and I understand both sides of it. If it were up to me, I'd let every kid in the county come up there and ride, 3 days a week. But unfortunately, with the way that what I understand is the way that the Expo Center is structured as far as being a for-profit facility, venue. I think the main thing we'd have to do would be to come in on that deal, look at the liability insurance and figure out a nominal fee. You're not gonna turn lights on. You're not gonna have any air conditioning,
Well, if not that covered pen, it wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work real well. I don't know, I kind of feel like that there's a place we could come together on this thing and everybody would win. It may take a little time to sort it all out. That's kind of my opinion on it, Judge. It would,
We're busy.
and I'm gonna say this, and I hope everybody hears this.
You got 20, this month or next month, you have 23 days that are taken off.
That was last month.
But you're not,
In May.
looking at the setup fee, so just because it's a blank calendar.
Right.
So I'm looking at this calendar here. So we have destries, we've got, right now we're prepping the arena for destries. So typically when you have an event, depending how big the event, you've got a 3-day setup to get this event ready. And then you got a 3-day breakdown, and you got to flip it for the next event. So just because the dates are blank does not mean we don't have heavy equipment. Because some of these events, we have to completely roll, and that's not going to be good on your horse's feet, right?
And my only suggestion is days that it does work into the calendar.
Right.
Don't bend over
So-
backward to make this happen. It's passive revenue and it has to stay that
Well, I
way.
mean,
No, like-
that's like the deal we had 2 weeks ago. We had 244 bulls housed up there, and everybody had a pen. You know how much iron it takes to do that?
And so
And time.
it won't be a lot of dates that we'll be able to do that, especially when we have to keep flipping for a lot of dates.
Mhm.
I mean, but I'm looking at the calendar, the only month that we could really pull this off to test run it would probably be August.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're booked out that far. That's
Right.
wonderful
And
news.
just because I'm looking at how we have to flip the arena. We have to flip the arena, we have a whole bunch of cattle pens, we've got a lot of ropings. We've got a rodeo, so there's a setup and there's a breakdown. And then that's the only concern I have. It won't be consistent because of the big events we have on the weekends. You
So
what
I
mean?
know of many of the local facilities, venues, most of them are privately owned that are more local to Glen Rose, but they put them in whenever. So my
Yeah.
suggestion of doing like every Tuesday was just a hypothetical.
Right.
Even if it was sporadic, whenever it just fit in.
Yeah, 'cause it would
And
be-
even if things have to get canceled because randomly somebody rented it that day.
it's,
So like I said, it's a privilege, not a right. And
it's
so
gonna be very sporadic, just.
it makes it easy to just make it happen when it works and not when it doesn't.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the calendar. In August, we kind of slow down so that we could, that would be only really a time, because we're constantly flipping. And a lot of people don't realize what it involves flipping for one event, because one event may be rolled, then you have to rip it up. Like depending on if you have barrels or if you have ropings, or if we have to go in there and put cattle chutes in there. What's kind of our downfall is our warm-up arena is attached to our main arena. So when we're trying to move equipment in, guess where we're going? We're going through the warm-up arena, and we don't want to spook any horses. We don't want to cause a rider to fall off or anything like that. Also the downfall to our warm-up arena. When it floods, guess what floods? It is a muddy mess in that backup warm-up arena. We just had a rain 7 days ago, and it's still a muddy mess. So there's a lot of things that go into that warm-up arena that, you've got to think about. So,
I think it can be done, like we said, on a sporadic. I mean, it's not gonna be every Tuesday at 8 a.m.
Sure,
I
sure.
wish you could, but that's impossible.
And then
you
the
know,
whole,
to come up with a schedule that's gonna fit everybody. That's-
The only reason I brought up like a set day of the week is so that in general, the public doesn't forget it, so they don't just show up on a random day.
Yeah,
But obviously, it's gotta work into whatever the existing calendar allows.
sure, sure, and we're well into 25 right now. In fact, there's not very many spots left, 25. I had a call a couple of nights ago from a guy, indicator wanting to know if he could get 5 days here for 25 and another one 5 days for 26 for horse show.
That's a good song.
Oh, that's how they schedule it out, they want the same weekend every year.
Oh, yeah, they do, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that weekend's already taken for next year. I mean, well, fortunately for him. But I don't see why we really couldn't come up with an informal, a formal agreement on an informal program.
Right, you could even advertise it as a pilot program.
Sure.
We're testing
Yeah,
the waters,
yeah,
let's see if
we
it
can do
works.
that.
That's up to you, those three working together, looks like those three would have to be the ones that make this thing work.
Absolutely.
I know nothing about the business, I'm not.
There's no way we can decide
Those
whether.
three know the business.
Exactly.
and really, it's all up to Nikki about the liability, really, on the risk that it takes. The auditor will.
So there is an equine inherent risk law, which I'm sure y'all know about.
Yep.
But then most, especially private facility owners, have an additional waiver that they just make everyone sign at least annually. I mean, if not every time you haul in, you could sign a new one, whether it was electronic or paper.
I think we can get around that
Can these be
liability
beat
stuff.
though, if something happens?
I understand.
If y'all not take any action, let them three work things out, bring back the amount and the waivers. and-
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm very open to this, first and foremost. Let me
Thank
tell
you,
you
sir.
that as a previous horse background and whatnot, I understand the need for a place decent to ride. I would like to see some fee schedules, some examples of how it works in other places and things like that. And then come back and make a decision on this to possibly pilot it. That would be my proposal.
Absolutely.
To the court.
They gotta get with the Expo folks. Like
Yeah.
you said, there's,
Yeah.
every time they're.
I think we can make something work. I'm like Terry and Cindy, I think we can make something work on a here and there basis, but we just need some, I'd like to see some examples and some guidelines for some other folks as to how it does work.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I don't think it will, I want to see how.
Sure, I can bring you all the
Be
most
awesome.
local resources of how our
Yep, be great.
neighbors
Yep.
handle
That'd be
it
great.
and
That'd be
what they
great.
offer and.
Mhm, exactly.
And it's a little
Fee
all over the
schedules,
board,
how
which is
they're
why I didn't
charging.
bring anything concrete, because it's not uniform. for
No,
everyone.
no, I understand that, just some examples to
Yep.
look at and talk
No problem,
about.
sir.
And you three get together and talk it out, what it
Yeah,
can,
we-
it can't be.
we'll get us a spot.
Richard's had
Go to work
Trey
on
and
it.
Martin put together a sample waiver that maybe you want to take and look at, as
Sure.
your group look at it.
Sure, thank you.
Richard, mine was 2 pages.
Okay.
Oh, is that front and back? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, good. So what I'm hearing as of today, till we get more information, we're not gonna take any action on that particular item, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I've seen this
That'd be my
one,
thought,
page,
yes.
12 pages long.
Okay. We won't take any action until we have further information.